Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be talking to you about adaptive seating. Adaptive seating is one of the many aspects that falls under the vast umbrella of assistive technology, and within this presentation I'm going to be talking to you about what it is, how it's used, especially within academics, what it looks like and the costs associated with different products, the benefits of use, as well as more information that applies to it. So, as I said, adaptive seating does fall under the large umbrella of assistive technology, and based upon the research that I've conducted of it, I have found the definition of it could be any type of seating or positioning aids that are different from conventional seating that are intended to improve students' health, activity performance, and activity participation. And most often, adaptive seating is going to be intended for students whose disability or health warrant accommodation. So in that sense, students who have a disability will often have health issues related to that disability that warrant a different type of seating, and that's where adaptive seating comes in. It's an accommodation to help them thrive better in the classroom or at home through the way that they're sitting or positioned. Also, even though it falls under the umbrella of assistive technology, it in itself is a vast umbrella itself, and it encompasses a vast range of devices and interventions. One of the articles that I read put it this way: it may vary from a simple seating product with little or no customization or clinical involvement to a sophisticated multi-adjustable seating system requiring assessment, customization, evaluation, and integration with other technologies, pointing out how extensive it can be, but also how simple it can be because of the range in products that exist for it. On this slide, I wanted to show you visually the point that I just made about how adaptive seating may vary because of the fact that it is such a large umbrella. So on this slide I have pictures of fairly simple devices such as the cushion, which is towards the bottom center, and something that is as complex as the seat that is next to that picture. So in that sense, products for adaptive seating can be very extensive or very simple depending on what students' needs are being addressed with it. Now, why is adaptive seating actually used? I sort of alluded to this before in reference to accommodating students' needs who have disabilities or health issues, but the goals of adaptive seating are always going to be improve the student's health, their performance in activities, that could be school activities or just living activities, and their participation in them. And those seem to be three reoccurring themes in a lot of the research that I did. So one of the types of disabilities that seem to be often addressed with adaptive seating is cerebral palsy. So an example I have here is a student with cerebral palsy will likely have physical disabilities, like maintaining a good posture, which can interfere with their performance and participation in academic and non-academic activities. So in that sense, while this disability is harming them physically, it also is harming the other two areas, warranting some sort of accommodation through adaptive seating. So a possible accommodation for this would be a specialized chair could be given to the student to offer better physical support for their body in a way that orients them in a better position for activities. So in this accommodation, adaptive seating can promote better health through a better posture for their body and also position them better to make them more able to have participation and a better performance in activities. So basically the end goal is always going to be improvement of students' lives, home or at school, through improving their health, their performance in activities, and their participation in them. So, thinking about the benefits of using them. Obviously, improving students' lives is quite great, but I have compiled a list here of some of the specific benefits of how that adaptive seating is going to improve students' lives. And each of the examples here come from a different study that I looked at that was studying different types of adaptive seating. So I'll just read them off to you. one of the benefits can be improvement in activity performance and satisfaction, postural control, support, and stability, better interactions with environment, increased independence of disabled student, health improvements, increased safety and comfort, greater ability to stay engaged and participate, improved home and school life. So clearly there are a myriad of ways that adaptive seating can help students, and all are addressing the three variables that I've pointed out to you a few times already, which are health, performance, and participation in activities, which are always going to maintain themselves as the goal of adaptive seating. So, given the fact that I pointed out before that adaptive seating has quite the range in products, I use this slide here to show you the way that they also range in price. So here in this slide I have 4 different products: the floor sitter, the ball chair, the positioner chair, and the seating disc, which are pointed out here. And if you notice, the prices in them have quite the range as well. And that's largely in response to the cheaper products being more simplistic, whereas the more sophisticated ones for students who have greater needs being more expensive. But this is just to give you a grasp of some of the prices associated with them and how they vary. Now, adaptive seating is actually one of the aspects of assistive technology that continues to constantly be researched, because of the fact that some people are skeptical about how well it actually improves students' health or their performance in activities and their participation in it. So one of the different examples that I looked at in regards to different reviews on the use of adaptive seating are therapy balls. So therapy balls are often used to help students with ADHD to focus by allowing them to move around, and they're often used for full classrooms. So in my own experience, I can remember a handful of different classrooms from the different schools that I've worked at that have incorporated seats like in the pictures that are put on the side here. So in those classrooms, students had the ability to sit in them if they were just a general ed student or if they were special ed, and it was just a natural part of the classroom. But looking at different reviews suggested that there are different views on how well they actually work. So one of the views that I read about suggested that while they can increase posture and stability, they also have been shown to hinder ability to concentrate and constrain the neck and upper body. So in that sense, it can be almost counterproductive, where it's not keeping those students on task and it's actually distracting them. The second view suggested that students in the class love to use them, encourage better posture, and were a source of motivation, but they are also misused as a toy and prove to not help certain students with ADHD. So also a more skeptical view here of how well they're able to help students to focus. And the third view suggested it does have the propensity to help students with posture and have beneficial health effects, but can be very uncomfortable and straining. Additionally, when using a stand, such as in the picture over next to the review here, the positive effects are often negated. So here it's suggesting that it can have those positive health effects, like in the upper picture, but when you put the stand on it like that, those positive effects no longer stand and can be beneficial. So clearly, this is just one example of adaptive seating, but even with the more extensive seating that you see for students who have CP, different researchers are constantly coming out with different views and research on the value and benefits that it may have for students. In the effort to be concise, this will be the last bit of my presentation, but I would encourage you, if you'd like to learn more about adaptive seating or have questions about it, the websites Special Needs, Riften, Adaptive Mall, and Rehab Mart can provide more information on different things like the types of adaptive seating, specific functions and uses, and the pricing of them. In fact, a lot of the different pictures that I got for this presentation came directly from there, as well as the prices of the specific devices that I suggest. talked about in an earlier slide. Also, more information on adaptive seating considerations can be found on the presentation handout, which I have a link for you here. So that concludes my presentation. I hope you've learned a little bit and have somewhat of a grasp about what adaptive seating is. And I would like to conclude this by saying that although a student may not have a very clear disability that seems to require adaptive seating, I would constantly be leaving the option open for including different types of seating in the classroom and to try out different things to see how well it can impact students. And different students will benefit in different ways from it, so to always be trying something new because of the fact that it has been proved in many cases to work and to benefit students. So thank you for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed.